And Tad wrote on top of it, so the guy who was never supposed to make it is now the last one standing. Let that sink in. So that's a little glimpse into the mentality right now of the family. Swagoo, what are your thoughts?
I mean, the evidence is there, G. Like, I get it. I get it. Every quarterback, Jared Goff's situation, paid after a Super Bowl. Carson Wentz, paid after he had a great MVP season, was in that conversation. Dak Prescott just been sitting idle, just sitting in Dallas, doing his thing, numbers speaking for themselves, playing at the same high level that these other two guys was playing at, and he's sitting here in his third cycle. I'm with Dan. I know we have to report it, but the frustration level for me is beyond. And I get it that we got to figure out the salary cap, and I understand that there's numbers that need to come into play so you can build around and have the type of players you want to have. I understand all of that. But I was saying 2 years ago, this ain't normal. I screamed it. It ain't normal. We sitting here again about to have the same conversation about the offseason with new things. Yep. An ankle is a new thing. Yep. A roster is a new thing. A salary cap is a new thing. And if the negotiations were hard the previous 2 years, guess how hard they done got now? And Dak has had time to think, been away from the organization, seen the things that have transpired. And by no means am I saying he's not excited to potentially get back. But again, I will repeat this. Dak Prescott, I advise you, do not sign a tender. You have to play hardball with the Dallas Cowboys at this point. There is nothing left to do. Now, if it is something left to do, I'm going to let Jeff Saturday and Dan Graziano tell me what that is. But in my mind, there's nothing left for Dak to do. Everything on the Cowboys.
I think Jeff may have an idea, and I can preface it by saying that over the last 5 seasons, the player in the National Football League who has made the most money is Kirk Cousins. Jeff Saturday, pick it up from there.
Keep Kirk Cousins to death, baby. Just keep chopping that wood. 37 million, 42 million. I'm going to keep going up, man. I don't care what the cap is. I don't care what the rest of it is. You're going to give me exactly what I want, or I'm going to keep banging you over the head until I get my money and go to another team and make the money I wanted with the years I wanted with that. I have done everything I needed to do to show you what type of player I am, what type of leader I am, what type of leader I am in the community. Like, just keep rolling out all the what I've already shown you. There's nothing else to show me. What you need to show me, Jerry Jones, is the checkbook. That's what you need to show me. That's all that we need to talk about. I don't care how y'all get on the radio and tell me how much you love me, all those kind of things. You show me by paying me. And that's the conversation that should have been had years ago. And listen, the more he waits, the better the leverage is for him. I'm not in a hurry, right? I saw what your team looked like without me, right? I saw what everything's happened. I saw what the coaching staff, you already fired a DC you just hired. Like, I could have fixed that. You saw what I looked like in the first 4 games. I at least kept us in it. Everything he's done, Greeny, and to Swagoo's point, he has put it, all the chips are in. They got to make a bet, man. That's the bottom line. He's got Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones needs to pay the man his money.
And Graziano, you always want to tell us how amicable the conversations are and how it's a two-way street and the Cowboys want to get it done. The only thing I can say is that in every other situation in the entire sport, when a team wants to get a deal done with the quarterback, they do. This is the only time it hasn't. Right. It didn't happen in Washington because they didn't want to get a deal done with Kirk Cousins, which suggests to me that despite what they say, the Cowboys still don't want to go all the way with Dak Prescott, because in every other case in the sport, it works out.
But what's all the way? I mean, this conversation started with a tweet about Goff and Wentz being traded or benched and Dak still being there. If Dak had wanted the Goff or Wentz deal last year, he could have taken it, but he wanted a shorter deal. This is a two-way street, right? It's not just because the Cowboys don't want to sign. He hasn't liked what they've put in front of him because he doesn't like the years. It's not the money. So there has been an effort from the Cowboys, and, you know, there has been resistance from Dak's side. It's not just on Dallas that this isn't done. I think people have to realize that this is a two-way street, and this player wants something different than what others in his situation have.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, in all those other places, was it a one-way street? I don't understand. Somehow it always seems to work out, except in this.
Or 2 in those 5 years. you've done the right thing by the organization. Whatever happens after that, you make do. But I think TJ's dead on, and I think they're going to break the tradition of what the Packers have been in the past.
Swagger, you look skeptical. Why?
I just keep thinking about, first of all, I like the fact that they drafted Jordan Love, because they could be sitting here in the same situation the Steelers are in right now, trying to figure out what their future look like while trying to work cap numbers with their current quarterback. So I don't mind that. And I'm more in lane with Grimes. Like, and G, you know, I've been on that when this whole draft thing started. I was like, I don't see much the Green Bay Packers need. Yeah, you can upgrade positions, but every team probably can upgrade positions. You end up in the NFC Championship, and the fact is, the Green Bay Packers for 2 years in a row did not get it done. The players did not get it done. That doesn't mean they're good. This is a 13-win football team again. So look, the bottom line is this. Aaron Rodgers wants security. Aaron Rodgers wants more players. That's it, G. I'm done talking about it. I ain't talking about Aaron Rodgers going anywhere. I ain't talking about what the possibility of him being traded or not want to be in Green Bay. Do what y'all want to do. But I would have loved to go to back-to-back NFC championships. I'm just saying.
That's fine. And maybe this is less about that than it is about the fact that Aaron Rodgers, with a team, once they drafted his replacement, he lost a lot of control over the future of his career. And I think this is about him trying to reclaim that control. I think this is about him saying to them, and Dan Graziano, I'm looking at you, you're not going to decide when you've had enough of me. You're not going to decide next year, well, if I don't play quite as well, we'll move on to Jordan Love. He's taking control of the narrative and saying, you want me to stay here and keep doing all of this? Well, then put your money where your mouth is long term. Make a commitment to me. I'll commit to you, and we're all good here. It may be less about players than it is about a player at this stage of his career taking control of his own situation.
Yeah, and that's speculative on our part, obviously, and on TJ Lang's, but we know because of his public comments that that's how Aaron Rodgers reacted to the drafting of Jordan Love. Oh, I wanted to spend my whole career here, and now I may not be able to do that, and it's not in my control. So, yeah, he could seek to get more guaranteed money on the contract, but I go back to a point I made last week. He's Aaron Rodgers. When you do the deal, get the guarantees. Don't come to me 2 years later and ask him for guarantees. Like, I'm Aaron Rodgers. If you don't guarantee me the money, I'm not going to sign. What would the Packers have done if he had taken that stance? These guys need to think about that when they do the deals, not 2 years later.
All right, we will have more on this as we go. We'll have plenty of time to say more about this, but there are a million other quarterback situations, and let's get to some of those here. Graziano, running the hurry up, there were reports about the 49ers being interested in Kirk Cousins. What do we have?
Yeah, I mean, that's good dot connecting, right? Because Cousins and Kyle Shanahan have a relationship from their time together in Washington. If the 49ers decide to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo, they can. The contract allows them to do that. And obviously, if the Vikings decide they want to move on from Cousins, is it crazy to imagine a scenario like what the Rams just did with Goff to get out of a contract? No. But again, one possibility of many for the 49ers if it goes that way. The Jets are looking, we know, as a possibility. Could they upgrade from Sam Darnold? They like Darnold. They could build around him. They could use all their draft picks to do that. Or they could make a run at Deshaun Watson. And I expect them to at least look into that and see what the price is when the Texans decide they want to talk about